welcome to another episode of the Level Up Show Live. We are here with Kristen David, and we are going to have an incredible conversation today all about up-leveling your business. Welcome to the show, Kristen. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here.
And tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a lawyer by trade, but I was, as many professionals, in the weeds, and learned how to build systems so I could hand projects off to my team. They know how to do a great job the first time, and it absolutely transformed my life. And that's part of what I help business owners do now is get out of the weeds and live life the way they want to live.
Fantastic. So this is all about building a dedicated team, and we are really excited about this conversation today. So let's jump in. Tell me, what do you mean by a dedicated team?
So first and foremost, it starts with some kind of an assistant. Getting those little things off your plate, having someone help you with conquering the email chaos, managing the calendar so that you prioritize the things you need to work on, and being a little bit of a gatekeeper so that you can be productive and not get interrupted all the time. So starting with a dedicated team of some kind of an assistant, from there you build on and build out as your business grows.
So it's interesting that this is the conversation that we're having today, because somebody told me that at the beginning, hire an assistant. And I was like, I don't need an assistant. I need a designer, because I don't want to do design. I don't want to do the Canva or the Photoshop. I don't want to learn it. So tell me why that's dangerous.
So listen, the things that are the $15 an hour type duties, things like scheduling, organizing emails and folders and renaming documents. I mean, that is the stuff that you've got to get off your plate first. And we build up and start slowly, but little by little, there's a great book by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. You buy yourself out of doing a lot of the low-level tasks, and then the next low-level tasks, and then the next low-level tasks. So assistant is first, then comes marketing assistant, then comes helping with some of the service provider, like doing things for servicing the clients or creating the products, right? The customer service. So the next one often also comes after that is the client happiness coordinator, that person who is going to make sure that your clients have that raving fan experience, just that amazing time with you, because they're going to go out, tell all their friends about what a great product, what a great service, what a great company. And that's free marketing. It's your lowest cost marketing out there. And that's the quickest way to get a snowball effect of new clients at a low cost of acquisition. So yes, we got to get the low level tasks off the plate, really service clients, and then really go after client happiness. That's building up your dedicated team, your core, that's going to absolutely transform your business.
So what are your thoughts around some of the posts? Maybe you've seen them, I've seen them. I need a VA. They need to do this and Facebook ads and build funnels and answer emails and speak English and $3 an hour. Like,
yeah, a unicorn.
I even think a unicorn exists, like on some level, but I don't know about that person. Right?
Well, so listen, my first EA with Up-Leveling Your Business, I got through a company called Get Staffed Up, an amazing staffing agency who sources the top 1% of staffers from around the world. And Marcella was from Mexico. She had gotten her degree from Texas A&M International. Her English is great. I mean, like perfect. She was able to do so many things and just took charge, organized, helped me stay prioritized. But then she started working on some marketing. She said, oh, I can do that social media post for you. I can do this. And next thing you know, my marketing team on my own team stole her from me. And she went over to the marketing team, has worked her way up. She now runs an entire department in my business. My current EA, also kind of, she just 2 weeks ago said, here, I can put together those social media posts for you. I can do that. I know the marketing team's busy. They'll take me 10 minutes. So yes, I think that a lot of VAs really do have the wherewithal to do some social media, a quick video edit, create something for Instagram, right? We've got an era of people who know how to live in the social media world and be an amazing VA. So I think they do exist. There's a lot of people that are totally competent and wonderful. I think that as owners, as entrepreneurs, we have to check ourselves though. Like, don't go into the relationship demanding and expecting they're perfect at everything, because your very organized, meticulous executive assistant who is great with emails and client conversations may or may not be your creative marketing person who does a lot of the creative world and technology. So, with that said, sometimes you get those unicorns that are wonderful.
What are your thoughts on how to pay someone? It's a great conversation we
So,
can get into, right?
yeah, absolutely. And this is vital. So whether you're a part-time employee, like entrepreneur just doing a side hustle, or full-time, I think first and foremost, you've got to be a good money manager. And that means it's up to you to orchestrate that position. Now, what I teach all the time is that you should only be out at most 2 weeks worth of salary. So let's say this is a full-time person. Let's say it's $15 an hour. If you go and get someone from the Philippines, there's some other companies that will source a VA for $6, $8 an hour. Others are more around $13, $14 an hour. But let's just say $15 an hour. And let's say you have them working week one, you need them to do about 8 to 10 productive hours of work. And week two, more like 15 to 20 of those 40 hours of productive work that's helping you with your business, helping you with getting some marketing out there, or helping you respond quicker to clients or potential clients, right? Those kinds of activities will generate more money for the business. And so really, if you can, the rule of thumb would be is in the first 2 weeks, 20 productive hours. If we can hit that threshold, in theory, they've paid for themselves. Then in week three, they're making you a 2-time return on investment. By week three, they're billing, or not billing, but productive for another 20 hours at least. And that gets you to a 3-time return on investment. So after that, in the subsequent months, they might be running 3 to 5-time return on investment every month that they work. So it's up for us to really orchestrate their time and say, okay, I need you to spend 5 hours dedicated to client happiness or client responsiveness. I need 5 hours of help making sure I get my marketing and sales done. And I need 5 hours on whatever. And just being very intentional, we can easily make sure this person pays for themselves and starts making us a return on investment. So yes, it's a little scary to think about shelling out, $300-400 a week for an assistant. But let me tell you, it's so much better when you can hand off projects and know that they know what they're doing and they can just handle them for you.
What about onboarding?
Onboarding is a great one. So we take people through all the time an onboarding agenda, and it's great to kind of map out every day for the first 10 days. Now, it's a loose agenda. It's not going to go perfect. And listen, all those interruptions are actually learning moments where they can observe, they can watch, they can see how you react or respond. What are the typical responses? So they're constantly learning during that time. It's great to give them a written policy and procedure manual if you have one. Most entrepreneurs don't. It's one of the things we specialize in. We have a whole package on how to hire, onboard, and work with an executive assistant. We also have a live training we do, because some people just know they are not good with training and they're not good with onboarding. But at its basic level, that every single one of the listeners can do on their own is just sketch out day one. Meet with the person, let them watch some of the other people on the job, and teach them one or two things. And if it's not documented, as you explain to the person how to do their job, how to do it, assign as a task that they're to take notes or record it, and then they can transcribe it and clean it up, and that becomes the base procedure of how we do that thing. So even if this morning at 8 a.m. you had no procedures written, by 5 p.m. you could already have your first ones drafted.
And what about a virtual team?
Absolutely. So I actually, believe it or not, my entire company is a virtual company around the world. And I work with tons of people from all different walks of life, all different industries, to have a completely virtual team. And I think that it can help in so many ways. It helps balance, especially for those of us in the US, it helps balance the budget and the cost of labor, right? Because you have some people from offshore at a much lower price point than people here in the US. Often we're going to have people work the same time zone as us. So for instance, my video editor and people in the Philippines, they work US time.
Right.
And so they're up all night their time. They're awake, you know, in the middle of the night, but that's our daytime. I will say, and this was a technique I got from back in my law firm days, sometimes it helps to have someone in a time zone 3 or 5 hours different from you. So I used to be able to dictate late at night in my law firm a bunch of projects, and the next morning my assistant on the East Coast would come in, transcribe, get all this work done for 3 hours, and by the time I showed up the next morning, voila, it was all done for me. It was great. So similarly, if you're on the East Coast or Europe, you might want somebody on the West Coast of the US. So when you leave for the end of the day, they've got another 3-4 hours where they can keep working through projects and getting them done. So when you come in the next morning early, it's ready to go. You've got information at your fingertips. So I do think that time zones can be a blessing sometimes to what we do.
Right. So hiring people, do you have any tips for hiring?
Yeah, so it definitely is. I mean, and this is part of that secret sauce, right? Of building your team and getting people to help offload and get things off your plate. And also a little bit of what we know is we procrastinate when we don't like doing things.
Right.
So as an owner, we really need to inventory what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, because you and I, like, we love to kind of jump in on certain things, and it excites us, so we're fast, we're really good at it, and then there are some tasks we just don't want to do.
Oh,
And
yes.
those are the ones you want to, as quickly as possible, get off your plate,
Right.
right? So when you're looking to hire, let's take inventory. What do you need to get done? What do we need to get off your plate? And let's really look at what are the things you're not good at and you don't like to do. Get support there. It'll make you a happier CEO very quickly. So definitely with hiring, we want to be clear on what's the job description, what are the tasks, right? And then what's the personality that needs to go with that? If the personality needs to be cheerful and upbeat and dealing with clients or reaching out to people, we're not going to get somebody who's sad all the time, right? You want to match the personality with the tasks that are being done.
Right.
So, you know, your receptionist or your intake person, you want a good, cheerful voice. Versus if they're doing tech or working in the back, working on stuff, it might be fine that they're not a people person. That's good for them, right? So pay attention to like what the personality is of who we're hiring and ask lots of questions. Interviews are not a time to tell all about your company. It's honestly a chance for you to dig in and really ask, like, what's this person's experience? Have they ever done some of these tasks before? Do they think, like, I like systems thinkers, people that think, okay, that's going to be a 6-part checklist. That's going to save me time. Oh, sure, let's build a workflow, right? So you probably want 1 or 2 people on your team who are very methodical and organized to help bring that structure to your business. So when you're hiring, let's think through those things. Just a little planning goes a long ways.
And what about the phrase hire slow, fire fast?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't agree with the zap you're fired unless they've truly done something illegal. I do think that we owe it to ourselves and to the person and to the rest of the team to really take a moment and say, have we truly trained this person up? Do we, have we given them a chance to thrive? And I think one of the phrases I tend to try to encourage a lot of use is going to a person and say, well, let's take a look at this. Where did the system fail? Maybe you didn't have the training. Maybe this wasn't so clear in this area. And then we try to make the system better, and we explain the process to the person and ask them to document it and create the checklist or video. And if after a day or two they still don't get it, they're not able to really fully integrate with what you do, then yes, maybe it's time to say goodbye, but at least give them a chance.
I always say to the people that I hire that it's always systems, tools, and then people. So we blame a system, and then we blame a tool, and then we blame, the people blame, but we go after that first. So it's, and I ask them, like, what system would work better for you, and what tools do you need? Do you have the training? Or where would you, so it's always that first, and then looking for me personally, and I'm not an expert at this in any capacity, but it's about the get shit done mentality, right? Like, let's figure it out. Let's go find an answer. And that all day long, I'll back people, even if they don't know what they're doing. And it's like, you want to learn? Okay, let's go. So we learned recently, right, how to do YouTube and in this big course, and anybody else would call it probably a failure, right? But the editing wasn't there, and I sent it off to my teacher, and he's like, oh, no. And I'm like, okay, good feedback. Let's go back to it. And he was just excited that he got the feedback. I'm like, yeah, this is so great. We can go from here. So very powerful, right? To have that team member.
So one of the things that I encourage when we talk about systems, a lot of people immediately go to the policy, why do we do it? And the procedure, step-by-step how. The phrase I like to use is who shall do what by when, right? That's give that clarity. But we have all different learning styles these days. And so many people, millennials, Gen Z, they grew up with TikToks and YouTubes, and they just show me a 2-minute video. And then they're like, oh, boom, I got it. I know exactly what needs to happen here.
Right.
Other people are very visual learners, like myself. Show me a diagram. Help me see how this all comes together. And then it's like the light bulb goes on and I'm good. For other people, they're very kinesthetic. They learn by doing. So for them to see like a template or even show me what done looks like. Show me what your end product is, so that then they're like, oh, now I get what I'm trying to get to. Okay, now let me start working through it. Right? Like they're ready to just get going. They want to put pen to paper. They want to start drafting, tooling, doing whatever. So recognizing your team and their different learning styles is part of building your systems out. And while I might love to write those policies and procedures, one of my staff is very kinesthetic. And so I often say, okay, we're going to let you share your screen and I'll talk you through it. You do it as I teach you. And that's how she learns best, is by doing, right? And then we record that, and that becomes the video. So if somebody else needs to be trained up, there it is. It's, how to get that done. So again, we want to build out those systems so that you stabilize your business. When one human moves to a different department, the system still exists, so that you don't waste another 3-4 weeks training someone up. You bring them in and they get up to speed in a couple of days.
So that brings up the next really great point, and it's, but I can do this faster.
Well, and you're going to stay stuck longer.
Right? Amen. And it's so true. It's very challenging because I'm going to onboard my first admin person this afternoon. And I always have to plan it in a way that I've got an extra hour a day to help train her. And I always I used to, I don't anymore, but I used to feel that frustration of, but I can't run as fast. I can't do it as, she's not going to do it as fast as, and I'm sitting here this morning going, I don't even know how to train for this position. Because it's one of
So
those things that you do, like I check my email and do this, and it's such a part of my being, what's going on in the business. Like, I don't even know how to bring her on.
So let's break down the first couple of things. So email, for instance.
Right.
If we first just start out with saying, hey, we'd like to, the way we're doing it now is not the way we're always going to do it, but let me show you my techniques. Let me get you familiar with the types of emails coming in.
My
right?
techniques, yeah.
And so they observe, they watch, and then we start developing some folders. Number one, A+, urgent, must be dealt with in the next 6 to 8 hours, right? Like absolutely urgent. The next is, and I like to number the inbox folders 01 for urgent. 02 is then important external. These are clients or other people that are saying, I need a response within 24 hours. Then 03 is important internal from other team members or other vendors, internal vendors. So now we can differentiate between, maybe a potential client versus something else going on. Then we might have a folder for newsletters, regular course items, things like that, right? And if you get a lot of newsletters, maybe that's its own folder. And then you have one for delegate, a folder so that you can see what has the assistant already forwarded to your accounting team, forwarded to the marketing team, things that they can manage and get off your plate, but you can still observe and see what happened there. And then finally, for the first month or two, you definitely have a folder called junk ? So they can drag and drop things out of the inbox and say, is this junk or is it not? And you have a chance to go through and say, yep, junk, and unsubscribe, whatever we need to do with those. So that's part of that one first month or two of learning. They're not sure sometimes on what to do with certain things. So we start off there. You have the assistant get in 4 times a day and triage your emails out of the inbox into these folders. And now CEO, you've got to learn to manage yourself and not jump into the main inbox. You've got to wait until 9 a.m., 11 a.m., 1 p.m., whatever the times are that they're going to move stuff. And just go in and triage and see and they'll mark it as unread. So you can see, I've got 3 things in urgent. I've got 5 things in important. And so you can then go in and triage your time. If you only have 10 minutes, you're only getting through the urgents. All good, right? So that would be the first step of just starting to create a little structure with your emails. Get this person to start to become familiar with how you respond. And then the next step would be template responses. What are some of the things that they can do to go ahead and move the needle forward? Go ahead and respond to that new client who wants to sign up, right? How can we create some of those templates so they can support you better? So that's the first couple of days of just onboarding with email. Does that make sense?
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I knew a little bit about the 01. My question went to how do I watch what she may or may not, what she has done, right? If she's sent something, etc. So that folder is really cool so that I can see it. Oh, I like that idea. Yes. Wow, that's very beneficial. Thank you for sharing that.
So this is I'm going to gift for you, Pamela, our executive assistant package with all these written policies and procedures, because you might see this on the screen and be like, oh, boom, now I know exactly what to do, but it'll also give her or him the step-by-step procedure of how to organize, how to triage, all of that. It's one of our best-selling packages. It was actually on national TV a year and a half ago, because so many people need help training up an assistant, and guess what? They don't have time to train.
Not even, we call it the zone of genius. I was doing something the other day, and actually it was I was watching my YouTube coach do something, and somebody asked him a question, and he said, no, I don't know why I do it that way. And then 2 seconds later, he says, oh yeah, I do know. I do know. And it's that zone of genius where we do it so unconsciously that we don't even know we do it. And it's, so I know that that's where I'm sitting in some of the things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. So it's like, I need to pull back and really step by step think through and write down what I'm actually doing. But it was so interesting to watch him have the aha moment. Oh yeah, no, this is actually why I do that. So when it was coming to onboarding her, I was like, I know I've got some unconscious stuff I'm doing that I don't always know why or what I, right? And it's got history to it, and it's got this client, so I know this person from this, and I know this is going. So I was like, oh, I was starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed about how to even get started, right? Because she's walking into a full business versus hiring her to start, which might have been a better choice. So if there's people listening, that might have been the better choice for me, right?
And I think this goes to our point of building that dedicated team, right?
Yeah.
Onboard that assistant, even if it's part-time, earlier than you think. Get those little things off your plate. Get someone to help. They're going to help you be a better CEO, help you get more organized. And listen, that human may or may not forever be on your team, but it's going to train you as CEO how to start organizing. And we never just want to rent the person's brain. We want to build those systems so that it's documented, so the next human can come in and go, oh, this is your list of VIP clients. Oh, this is your list of VIP colleagues and people that get in right away to you.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
Yes.
That is so
that
brilliant.
way you don't start over.
So if anyone watching is having as many aha moments as I am, you've got to check out Kristen at uplevelingyourbusiness.com and learn more about this, because this will save me so much time, energy, money, reputation, frustration, all of it, right? And then I knew that this is where I needed to go, but it can be scary.
Very much so, but everything feels better with a plan. And listen, you'll later add systems to every department in your business, but the very first one you start off with are the core ones that you follow and your assistant follows. Email, calendaring, prioritizing and protecting your time, right? These are the core ones that every business owner needs to adapt, and I'd say do it early. It's the first hire. It's the first person. People wait way too long. And the key is, you know, I mean, this is why, honestly, it's if you go to our website, uplevelingyourbusiness.com, the top banner is all about this executive assistant or assistant mastery. So it's just one of those core elements of being able to really become a CEO and run a successful business.
There's a gentleman out there that I've been following for a while, and he used to use this wording, the pressure and noise for a business owner. And I was like, is that it? Is that what I'm feeling? Is that what I'm hearing? Because I can see and hear it more now, the pressure and the noise coming at me, so to speak. And the more visible I get, the more they're coming at me. So that's why the assistant really came apparent, was that the 13 people that I had appointments with today, if there's even one of them that's missing a link or canceling or whatever, I can't stay in the inbox. I just know I can't stay over there. I don't want to, right? And it was like, oh, this is the pressure. And then the other piece of it is the noise. And for me, and I'm new-ish, but the noise to me is the conversation I'm having in my head around all the pieces that I know someone else can be handling. So I've got all this noise that I can't get to the creative piece or the pieces or even just some sort of and eat my lunch. You know what I mean? So it's worthiness, deservedness, all of those things for myself as well. So
and I want you to know that honestly, you're not alone. I mean, this is why there are 2 chapters in our assistant manual. One is how to support the owner, how to be that block for all the noise, and how to like protect them, be that gatekeeper, protect them so they can work on the things that matter. And also helping train up this assistant on what are business projects that the EA can help with. How can they proactively recognize the pressures and the needs that are coming at the owner, all these things that are in the back of our mind, and it finally helps them be like, Oh, okay. Business owner, you need like passwords and security. We need to clean that
Right.
up. Corporate documents and record keeping. Okay, we got that. We can help organize that, right? How to work with the rest of the team, quality assurance, all these things that are jostling in our brain. Now the assistant has some framework to go, oh, okay, I understand this is what's going on. Here's how I can be a better assistant to be that gatekeeper and protect that time and make sure those projects get done without it being noise. So you're not alone in those thoughts.
Thank
Not
you.
alone at all.
And I knew that, but so I visited your website and I thought that it was more for local businesses. So what you're saying is no, it's not. It's for us
Yep.
as virtual businesses as well.
Oh, absolutely. So we've helped attorneys and doctors and chiropractors and CPAs and virtual companies, and we represent a lot of coaches and people from all different kinds of businesses that have started a product or a project or a service. And we are at the core is helping business owners create systems, create organization so they can hand off projects to other people, a virtual assistant, maybe a right-hand person, maybe a tech person, so that the owner can live in that space of having fun doing what you started this business to do and not be sucked into all the mundane tasks that drag us down, frankly, and
Right.
keep us from our zone of genius.
Right.
So, yes, here's the system.
Oh, we need some applause. So Kristen David, please, everyone, you've got to go and purchase this. Uplevelingyourbusiness.com. You're giving a discount. Is that correct?
I am. Actually,
Yes!
we're going to, in honor of, since we are up leveling and you are level
up.
for all of you watching, if you want to get that EA package, $500 discount code, just use the coupon level up. We're making it super easy for you because honestly, we want to see you build those systems. It comes with a 30-page policy and procedure manual already done. It comes with spreadsheets and checklists and templates and scripts and email templates and all the things that are going to cause you to not have to start from scratch. You can go through in 2 or 3 minutes, edit up 2 or 3 email templates, and boom, now your assistant has the materials to start proactively helping you. It's one of our favorite items. I mean, people just love it. It's a game changer. So that's why I thought of you and this podcast on creating that dedicated team to help you really level up.
I felt I'm a bit of an anxious bird, right? So I was just like, I just felt a little bit of peace just kind of wave over me there. So I'm going to run over and get that for my people. And thank you so much. Uplevelingyourbusiness.com for everyone that's listening. Just jump over and have a looky-loo and look at what you've been able to accomplish for yourself and your business. I love that side, looking at both sides.
Yes.
You've got a fabulous team. You've been able to do this for yourself. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah. And listen, for everybody out there that are thinking, I can't afford anything, I want you to be true to your budget. But listen, you can all start documenting your processes and your systems. And the best thing you can do is get an assistant and you literally explain to that person how to do the task and they will document it for you. And you'll always be building an asset in your business. When I sold my law firm business, my policies and procedures manuals alone were a $100,000 negotiating point because it's what made my entire business turnkey.
Right.
So not only will you gain the short-term value of building systems and empowering other people to do work for you, you're building a long-term asset in your business that is saleable. So I wanted to just point that out as people are on that growth journey. Get started. Just get started. If you want to fast track and do it faster, that's why we have our systems packages. That's why that assistant package is phenomenal. But if you're just getting started, listen, just start documenting the systems. That's the key.
And don't wait as long as I did, because it's cost me
or
more.
me in my first business. Trust me, no
more.
judgment zone.
No. Cost me more. It slowed me down, and all I needed was one more client.
And that assistant is going to help you get 3 more clients.
Exactly, she will. This
Hours and hours
afternoon,
of your time.
please know she's going to, it's no question. It was mindset. It was belief in myself. If I don't really think a business is going to work, I'm not going to get an assistant because I didn't trust myself, right? I didn't trust I could do this. So some people won't even buy $97 worth of software because they don't think the business is going to work. I'm like, start a Pizza Hut. Like you think you will have expenses, right? But this was the other piece of it is I didn't want to employ someone else when I couldn't trust myself. Because then her business and her life is on, right? But now I've got 4 people, so what the hell's one more, right? Like what's
Well, but listen, we have to hold true to the fact that your role as a CEO is to have a good plan, bring people on. Sometimes it
Be
doesn't work
responsible.
out, and we're not promising future forever employment. We're presenting an opportunity, and sometimes opportunities don't always work out. But listen, sometimes they work phenomenally well, and it's just an absolute key to your success of growing to the next level. So thank you for having me on, and I hope everybody gets out there and starts building those systems. I'm telling you, it's what has absolutely propelled me to have the multi-million-dollar business now, and I help hundreds and hundreds of businesses every single month build those systems, and we see the transformation in them.
can't wait.
It's going to be great. Okay,
Thanks,
you,
Kristen.
Pamela, for having me on. All right.
Absolutely. Talk soon.
Bye.
Uplevelingyourbusiness.com, everyone.